I wasn't sure how I felt about the fine liners, so let's see how I'm feeling about the brush pens. Hi everybody, today I am taking a look at the Arteza Real Brush Pens Premium. This is what the label says. I tried out their fine line pens, and while I thought that they weren't bad, I didn't think that they were great, and even though they were cheap, I'm not sure I would have spent the money on them if I was like, I was kind of ambivalent about them. They were not fabulous, but they weren't terrible. They were just kind of like mediocre, and for the price, I mean, I guess that's what you could want, whatever. But I'll link that video in the cards if you're interested. But they also have these pens that are called Real Brush Pens. They have a huge set of these, 96 count, for currently 66 something on their website. I don't think you can get them on Amazon. I did not order that because after ordering the bigger set of the fine line pens and being kind of like meh and giving them to my kid, I was like, I'm not about to order 96 of these pens if I don't like them, giving them, like, my kid does not need that many pens. I mean, I guess maybe I have that many pens. The point being is I thought it would be smoother to just go ahead and take a look at the 12 pack and see if I like them. And if I do like them, then I can order the set. And because $66 for 96 pens is a great price. It's like half the price of the 96 count of Tombos. So we'll see how I feel about these guys. Now, when I bought these were on special sale on Amazon, like a lightning deal or something, for like $9. Currently, they are $11.99 for the 12 pack, which is still a good price. You can get Tombos for like $20 for a pack of 10. The point being is that this is a great price for 12 brush pens if they're nice. If they're not nice, it's still a decent price, but I don't ever suggest that you spend money on crappy products just because they're cheap. Better to put away the money until you have more money to buy better products. I sound like I'm super biased against these. I'm not. I'm just skeptical because of my experience with the other pens. Looking at the claims, these are water-based ink for watercolor effects, flexible nylon brush tip for fine, medium, and bold strokes, non-toxic, safe for children with supervision, unique colors, blendable, and it gives you color names on the back of the packaging here, which is like a plastic packaging. They came in a little tray inside of the situation. Now, looking at this first pen, automatically I see something that makes me like these more than I like the fine line pens. The color and the number are both on the pen already, which is excellent. One of my biggest beefs with the fine line pens was that there was no, like, only the color of the cap, which didn't match all of the colors. So I felt like I had to keep them in order to be able to keep them looking right. The material on the outside is like a soft plastic with a rounded tip, pretty basic. The cap is clear and it has a clip, which is not something you see on a lot of brush pens. It also keeps it from rolling. The cap not only goes on satisfyingly, it's actually kind of hard to get off. And it sits on the end really securely. Now, looking at the nib, this nib looks very similar to a Tombow. They are the same length, and the Tombow is just a little bit fatter. But now let's try the flexibility of it and see how that feels, because some of you guys know that these Tombow dual brush pens, their nibs are some of my favorites because of how heavy-handed I am. So let's see how firm this one is. Oh, okay. I did not realize, and I should have realized because it said nylon, but it didn't say solid brush tip. These pens have the fiber tip similar to the clean color, Zig clean color brush pens. So the bristles break up. So you could use these for lettering, but they're going to be sloppier if you use them for lettering, as opposed to, like, example, versus a Tombow. I was not expecting that. I swear I thought I read it, but whatever. Good to know. It's a bristle tip as opposed to a solid tip. It's very loose, which is not great for me for hand lettering, but could be really great for coloring or for painting style stuff. Funnily, one of the things I had thought about doing with pens like this was to practice lettering because it would force me to not be quite so like, "Rrr!" My cat just looked at me like, what the fuck, Cindy? So they're not wrong. You can get various line widths with it, but the bigger your width gets with more pressure, the harder it is to control. It's the nature of the nib. So now I'm curious to see about the blending. And I know because I have a 12 color set, I'm not going to have quite as many blending opportunities because they aren't going to be so close together, but let's check and see. So we've got the pink one, which is Neon Pink 107, and then the red one, which is Red 101. I added a little water to see what would happen. They do blend a little bit. They're very loose, but I can see you doing, especially with a bigger set, being able to get some really fine detail with coloring with these. They are watercolor ink. They absolutely do bleed. I'm going to use them in my Scribbles That Matter to create a swatch page, so we'll see kind of how they bleed in there. I would not imagine doing very much blending with these inside your journal unless you're willing to tape pages together, because that's like, it's pretty juicy. So I'm going to do it on this side, so in case it does bleed, it's not going to bleed on top of anything. These actually blended really nicely. The blues blended really well together. This color selection is really pretty. Like, I'm feeling good about these. After feeling disappointed about the fine liners, having these brush pens be really kind of nice is exciting. So I will say that the colors are really pretty, that if you want to try lettering with these pens, you're going to struggle because the tips are nylon and bristly. So unless you're okay with sketchy looking lettering, these are probably better for filling in, for coloring, for stamping, things like that. I would suggest that. As for use in your bullet journal, just the one color laid down shadowed, but as soon as you blended, it bled through. So I'm going to have to glue these two pages together. I don't know if I'd recommend these beyond some coloring in your bullet journal unless you're willing to glue pages together, because as soon as you start to layer them, and I think the blending is where these really shine, you're going to have some bleed through. So I'm not even going to mess with them in my Erin Condren planner. I'm just going to say that these can be used in your planner sparingly, sort of the same way I use Tombows, sparingly. I don't do a ton of layering with my Tombows because it tends to bleed through. Same with these guys. What I think I'm really interested in is getting the bigger set and seeing if the blending, if there's more blending awesomeness, if these could be kind of a fun alternative to like a Copic. Now I know these are water-based and Copics are alcohol-based, but Copics and their alternatives can be expensive, and $66 for a pack of 96 is actually a really great price for that many markers if the color selection is worth it. So if you are interested in me picking up a bigger pack of these and showing how they blend in all of the different colors, let me know down in the comments below. But overall, I'm not sad that I only paid $9 for these, and I wouldn't be sad for paying $12 for these. These are decent coloring pens and blending pens, depending on what you want to use them for. The one thing that I'm not sure about that I'll have to do some more testing on, and I will do some testing over the next month or so on these, is whether or not they run out quickly. They're very, very light. They don't feel like they have a lot of ink in them, so I want to see how quickly they run out. If you would like me to do a follow-up video on this with more pens and a month worth of use time, let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time.